The clatter of dishes echoed through the empty restaurant kitchen like a cry for help in the middle of the night. It was 3 a.m. too late for any employee to be here, and yet the billionaire, exhausted and returning from an unexpected late-night board meeting, froze in the doorway as he spotted her, a teenage girl, sleeves rolled up, hands trembling in the steaming water as she scrubbed one plate after another. Her shoulders were shaking, not from the cold, but from pure exhaustion. He had seen her earlier that afternoon, smiling shyly behind her mother, the maid who worked in his mansion. Now, in this quiet hollow of stainless steel and fluorescent lights, she looked nothing like the cheerful girl he remembered. She looked like someone carrying the weight of a world far too heavy for her age. And in that moment, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly, painfully wrong. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and helping those who are quietly fighting battles we don't see, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It truly supports stories like this reaching more hearts. He stepped closer, unnoticed at first, and watched her movements, slow, mechanical, almost desperate. There were mountains of dirty dishes piled beside her, far more than a single shift could produce. Her school uniform peeked out beneath the black apron she had hastily tied around herself. There was a chipped notebook lying on the counter, pages splattered with dishwater, as if she had been studying between rushes of work. It became painfully clear that she hadn't just wandered in here by accident, she was here because she had to be. Her small frame moved with the rhythm of someone who had repeated the same task for days, maybe weeks, maybe longer. He wondered why she wasn't sleeping at home like any normal teenager, why she wasn't preparing for school in the morning, why she looked like she had cried earlier, but didn't have the strength to wipe her tears, he sensed. A story behind this moment, one filled with struggle, sacrifice, and silence, and he knew he couldn't walk away without understanding it. Earlier that week, the girls' school had contacted his household to inform them that she had missed several days of classes. He remembered overhearing her mother apologizing over the phone, her voice breaking, promising she would fix everything. The mother was one of the most hard-working people he knew, always arriving early, leaving late, never complaining. She had raised her daughter alone with quiet dignity, and he respected her deeply. But he didn't know until now what kind of invisible storms she and her daughter had been navigating. As he watched the girl continue washing, her fingers red and pruned, he noticed how she flinched each time a plate slipped slightly in her hand, as if she feared the consequences of a single mistake. The kitchen around her was spotless, too spotless for a late night. She had clearly been here for hours, not minutes. The heavy silence between the clinks of dishes added a strange heaviness to the air, like the entire room was filled with secrets. He scanned the room and saw a small backpack tucked in a corner, the zipper broken, papers sticking out. One of the papers was a letter, wet from the steam, edges curled. And though he couldn't read the text from afar, it looked like an overdue notice or a final warning. The sight struck him deeply. This wasn't just a girl trying to earn extra money. This looked like survival. The billionaire had grown up poor himself, something the world rarely knew about. He had seen his own mother scrub floors late into the night, her hands blistered, her back bent. He had promised himself back then that if he ever became successful, he would never ignore someone struggling the way his mother once did. Perhaps that's why his feet felt rooted in place now, watching this young girl silently fight against circumstances far beyond her control. He slowly stepped inside the kitchen, and the girl finally noticed him. The shock on her face wasn't the fear of being caught trespassing, it was the fear of disappointing someone she respected. She looked down quickly, as if ashamed, as if she wanted to hide the evidence of her exhaustion, her struggle, her pain. She braced herself like someone who had been scolded too many times in life for things that weren't her fault. The billionaire didn't raise his voice. Instead, something in his heart tightened. He took in the scene, the trembling girl, the endless dishes, the notebook cluttered with half-finished homework, and he felt the painful truth settle inside him. She wasn't skipping school because she was lazy. She wasn't here at 3 a.m. because she was irresponsible. She was here because life had pushed her into a corner, and she was trying to survive without asking for help. Over the next moments, as she stood frozen in front of him, everything unraveled piece by piece. She explained how her mother had fallen ill, a severe flu at first, but worsening into something that kept her bedridden. Her mother had insisted she go to school, but medical bills had piled up. Electricity was day from being cut, and the landlord had given them a warning they could no longer ignore. With her mother unable to work, the girl had secretly taken multiple cleaning shifts at different places to keep them afloat. The restaurant owner, unaware of her age, had hired her unofficially for late-night cleanup shifts. She would work until dawn, rush home, try to prepare for school, and collapse from exhaustion before she ever made it to class. She hadn't told her mother because she didn't want her to worry. She hadn't told the school because she feared being separated from her mother if anyone found out they were struggling. She hadn't told him because she didn't think someone like him, wealthy, powerful, respected, would care about someone like her. As she explained all this in a trembling voice, the billionaire felt something stir inside him, a fierce, protective resolve. He had spent years building an empire, negotiating deals, and controlling powerful rooms, but none of those victories had ever felt as important as this moment. He had the ability to change this girl's entire life, and her mother. And he knew he couldn't walk away from that responsibility. He realized how many people lived like this, silently drowning, smiling on the outside, fighting battles no one ever saw. And here was a girl who had chosen to carry her world on her shoulders rather than burden anyone else, even if it cost her childhood, education, sleep, and health. That kind of strength humbled him. In the following days, everything changed. The billionaire arranged immediate medical care for her mother, ensuring she got proper treatment without worrying about bills. He hired a personal nurse to check on her regularly and transferred her mother to lighter household duties once she recovered, with a higher salary and flexible hours. He made sure the girl returned to school, providing her with new supplies, proper tutoring, and transportation. He also spoke privately to the school administration, explaining the situation and ensuring she would not face penalties for her absences. More importantly, he created opportunities for the future. He set up a scholarship fund under her name, guaranteeing her education from high school through college. He gave her access to mentorship programs, encouraging her dreams and helping her see a path she never believed possible. Slowly, the exhaustion in her eyes faded. The fear melted away. The spark of a dream she once buried beneath dishwater and responsibilities returned to life. She started excelling in school. Her grades improved, her confidence grew, and she began believing in herself again. And through it all, her relationship with the billionaire transformed from distant familiarity to deep respect, not because he was wealthy, but because he cared. Because he saw her, because he chose kindness over indifference. Months later, during a school event, she received an award for academic excellence. Her mother sat proudly in the audience, healthier than before, tears streaming down her face. The billionaire watched from the back of the room, not wanting attention but unable to hide his pride. When the girl looked around the room, her eyes found him. And in that brief moment, she didn't see a billionaire. She saw the man who had stepped into her story when she had no strength left. She saw hope where there was once despair. Life didn't magically become perfect overnight. Challenges still appeared. Responsibilities still existed. And the world was still unpredictable. But now she wasn't fighting alone. She had support, opportunities, safety, and a future she could finally imagine without fear. And she carried with her a lesson she would never forget. Sometimes the greatest acts of kindness aren't loud or grand, they happen quietly, in late-night kitchens, in moments of exhaustion, when someone chooses to see the struggle behind the silence. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep inspiring stories like this alive. Before you go, comment below. Kindness matters. Thank you for watching.